queens who get sit for the drip. Oh, let's get to that. I mean, I wasn't even gonna watch this, but I didn't really watch it. I seen this clip right here on Twitter, right? I'm gonna let you listen to it real quick.
That shit felt to you to do 20 years and come out and got it, and you see it's these type of niggas in the world now.
Man, you know, they always say you can't argue with yourself. So sometimes you gotta let a motherfucker just talk and say anything, and then people find out what they saying ain't nothing. Like, if you don't got nothing to hide, then what you gotta speak up for? I don't got nothing to hide. I don't got no points to prove, you know what I'm saying? If I done anything wrong, if any man done anything wrong when it comes to being a rat, you got paperwork. Okay. Ain't no such thing as he third party.
She say,
you can't. I can't say, hey, you tell for me, and they gonna give me the time up. No, because you know who got to go in that courtroom to get his time cut?
You do.
That's right.
How that shit felt to you to do 20 years and come out and got it, and
I hate to say it, but that response right there from Meech, like, exacerbated. Let's get to that. That's a very good word. It exacerbated how I felt about son. And now I feel like he's definitely a do-bad. Yeah. What, nigga?
you see it's these type of niggas in the world now.
Man, you know, they always say you can't argue with yourself. So sometimes you gotta let a motherfucker just talk.
Can't argue with yourself, whatever that means.
And say anything, and then people find out what they saying ain't nothing. Like, if you don't got nothing to hide, then what you gotta speak up for? I don't got nothing to hide. I don't got no points to prove, you know what I'm saying? If I done anything wrong, if any man done anything wrong when it comes to being a rat, you got paperwork.
That's a lie. That's a lie. And no nigga that ever stood tall in this world would say some shit like that. No nigga that ever sat in front of them people and stood tall would ever say no shit like that. That's how I feel. Because you know better than that. Niggas telling all day in the jails. Niggas dropping, ain't no papers on that. Nigga, you shoot somebody outside, run down the block, a nigga point down the block, say, yo, he went that way. He went that way. They run that way and catch you, you go to jail, and nigga ain't telling you? Ain't nobody telling you? That nigga ain't in the paperwork. The police don't even know what that nigga had. They don't even know who that was that told him that. They just know he said he went that way. And they followed, and they went that way and they caught you. They not even looking for this nigga. But he gonna be in the paperwork? Niggas can't third-party rat. Niggas can't third-party rat. Niggas can't third-party rat? What?
No such thing as he third party.
She say,
you can't. I can't say, hey, you tell for me, and they gonna give me the time up. No, because you know who got to go in that courtroom to get his time cut?
You do.
Let me Google this shit. Is there a such thing as third-party cooperation in the feds? Is there a such thing as third-party cooperation in the federal prison system? Yes. Third-party cooperation exists in the federal prison system, commonly referred to as substantial assistance or post-sentencing cooperation, authorized by Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 35B. Inmates can provide information to prosecutors regarding other crimes or individuals to get their already imposed sentence reduced. Key aspects of this process include mechanism. Well, allows the government to file a motion to reduce a sentence within 1 year of a sentence or sometimes later if the inmates provide substantial assistance. Valuation. The information must be useful to the government objectives and its value often depreciates if others have already provided the same information. Risk. While it can significantly reduce a sentence, it also labels an inmate as a cooperator or rat, posing severe risk of violence in prison. Discretion. The government alone decides whether to file the motion. It is not a right, and courts often cannot compel them to file. Confidentiality. Efforts are sometimes made to keep the cooperation confidential through sealed filings. While it is possible for a friend or relative's cooperation to be credited to a federal inmate, having your girlfriend gather information is a high-risk strategy that typically requires formal coordination through an attorney to be legally effective and safe. Third-party credit. In some circumstances, the cooperation of a friend or relative can be credited to the inmate for a sentence reduction. The government must agree to this arrangement, typically requiring the third party to assist in the investigation or prosecution of criminal activity. Government discretion. Only the U.S. Attorney's Office can file a motion for reduction. The inmate, their family, or their defense attorneys cannot file it themselves. Prosecutors have broad discretion to decide if the information provided is substantial enough to warrant a reduction. This is Google. This is what the Google said. This is what the Google said. So why would this nigga be on a podcast saying you can't do that? If it's just so simple, you could just Google this shit and it tell you, yeah, you could do that. Everybody know that. Everybody know who you getting this message to. Why is Icewear? I fucks with Icewear, bro. Why is Icewear talking about facts? That's not facts. You can do that. You can do that. Everybody know that. I gotta always remember. These niggas in the streets don't even really mess with the internet like that. That's the nerds. He talking to the nerds on the internet that don't know no better. They just, oh yeah, you can do that. You see how many people in the, I'm playing at the end of the day and they typing facts, yeah, facts, 100, facts. Get the fuck out. This ain't no facts, nigga. Facts where? Facts where? On another planet? In another country? But in the United States of America, where the feds operate, they everything. In Hawaii, the rules is the same in Texas. Yeah, as far as the feds go. Texas rules is the same in New York. New York rules in Queens is the same in Buffalo, in Ohio, in Cleveland, Youngstown. All of the rules is the same with the feds. They don't care what city you from, what town, none of that. If you in the United States, you go, the same laws apply to you. In Atlanta, that's why niggas be like, oh, yo, T, I got caught with them guns in Atlanta. The laws is different down there. Not the federal laws. The federal laws is no different than in Atlanta than they are in New York. Yeah, them 10 guns in New York, same case in New York. It's the same exact case in New York. If the feds take it. Y'all just be talking. I don't do that. I don't get on the internet. I never called Meech a rat. I never got on the internet and said Meech was a rat. When 50 and them niggas was saying something was a rat, I never got on the internet and said he was a rat. I still ain't say he was a rat. I said he'll do bad. He did bad, homie. One way or another, he did, because that's not the response of a nigga who don't do bad. That you can't do that. What you mean? Yes, you can do that. Why would you be sitting here telling niggas you can't do that? You talking about, and then later on in the clip, he was like, yo, he was in a yard with niggas. The niggas that he was in a yard with, taking pictures with, them niggas is upset and all that. Yeah, they probably is. With you, though. And you don't even know it. Because they listening to shit like what? When you decide to really start talking, like you come and you try to hit niggas with, that's you gaslighting niggas. You trying to gas, that's the definition of gaslighting. You telling niggas you can't do some shit that the law say you could do. Fuck what the law say. You bigger than the law. You bigger than the law. That's another mentality. That's the mentality of a nigga that ate cheese. Nigga think he bigger than the law. The law say that shit is available. The law say that's available, homie. If the law say that's available, who is you? Who is any one of us? Oh, that should say to you, when you in the feds, it's the United States of America versus you. The United States, these great United States of America versus you. That federal courtroom, them shits is different than state courtrooms. Yeah, they different than state courtrooms. I mean, you feel small as an ant. I don't give a fuck if the courtroom is the size of a bathroom. Long as you the defendant, you gonna feel the size of an ant. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's gonna be. But I'm saying, nigga, the United States of America said you could do third-party cooperations, nigga. All you gotta do a quick Google search or show you. They break it down for you, tell you how you could do it. It's that readily available in the federal system. It's going on. Everybody know that. So why would this nigga be on the internet saying that you can't do that? Hmm?
To quote Zip with the drip, let's get to that.
Let's get to that.
All right, let's get to that.
Yeah, let's get to that.
Queens, you get sit for the drip. Oh, let's get to that.